Real quick here before we get into episode 15, we want to take a moment to recognize Memorial Day for what it truly is. For a lot of people, Memorial Day means cookouts, family gathering, the unofficial start of summer, and maybe just a rare chance to slow down for a minute. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should enjoy those moments. That freedom to gather with the people you love and care about is part of what this country was built on. But while we enjoy these things, we also have to remember the reason this day exists in the first place. Memorial Day is about the more than 1 million American service members who never made it home. Men and women who sacrificed their futures, their time with family, and ultimately their lives in service to something bigger than themselves. And behind every fallen service member is a family that carried that sacrifice too. Parents, spouses, children, friends, people who still feel that absence every single day. At Bulk, we know sacrifice means something. Time away from home means something. Missing holidays, birthdays, ball games, dinners, and moments with the people you love is something drivers understand better than most. That's why today matters. So however you spend Memorial Day, we just ask that you take a moment to pause and remember the people who gave everything so the rest of us could have the life we live today. From all of us here at Always Pneumatic, Never Static, we honor the fallen, we remember their sacrifice, and we thank the families who continue to carry their legacy forward. You know, out here, the job doesn't change much. Same road, same truck, same routine. But what does change is what's going on upstairs. And that's the part that nobody can really train you for. Nobody sits down in orientation and says, hey, here's how you handle the quiet. Here's how you deal with being gone. Here's how you help keep your head right when it's just you and the windshield for hours on end. Because the truth is, every driver figures that part out their own way. Some guys stay connected, some stay busy, some stay moving, some just learn how to sit with it. So today, we're not getting into anybody's past. We're not making this heavy. We're talking about the real side of this job that doesn't show up on a load sheet. How you stay steady out there, how you manage the isolation, and exactly what it takes to keep your mind right when the road gets long.
You're listening to Always Pneumatic, Never Static, the totally pressurized podcast brought to you by Bulk Transit, where we keep the lines clear, the tanks empty, and the conversation anything but dry. Whether you're running powder, pellets, or anything in between, pull up a seat, crack the windows, and let's hit it.
What's happening out there, Bulk and Spur? Welcome into Always Pneumatic, Never Static. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We have a great episode with you, for you today. With you, technically, if I was sitting with you, but since I'm not, it is an episode for you. A couple awesome drivers coming in here to join us in just a little bit. We'll get to that. I will tell you what they're going to join us to talk about, but first, let's hit the homework so we can really keep everything packaged tightly today in this episode. Podcast.bulktransit.com. That is your website. That's where most of you are listening to this podcast from. So head on over there and put the bookmark on it. This keeps you from having to download any other apps that you might not want, going through Spotify and looking for it, going through Apple and looking for it. Hey, if you head on over to podcast.bulktransit.com, you've got everything that the podcast is involved in right there. All of our episodes, all the people, all the information, all the people that we've talked to, and a little short description of what we're talking about, plus all of the quizzes that you can take up there, which those are going to be important. You know, we've already given out a couple of really cool cooling vests, and I would be willing to bet with the weather getting warmer across these great United States, those cooling vests are going to start to be getting used very soon. And here sometime in the future, we will be giving away more stuff on this podcast. So make sure you stay tuned, not only to the episodes, but to the website, and you're taking those quizzes. Once again, podcast.bulktransit.com. Okay. Today's episode is an important one for so many reasons, but really the main reason and the main thought behind this episode is it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And mental health is a very important part of truck driving. 11 hours a day by yourself staring out of a windshield can do some things to the 6 inches between your ears. The stress of traffic, the stress of all the red tape that you guys have to be in tune to, and all of the the laws that you have to follow, and making sure that you operate your trailer correctly, and making sure that you're maintaining your truck correctly, pre-trips, post-trips. There is so much going on that the synapses might not always be able to fire enough to keep up with it all. And I don't mean that you just all of a sudden are drooling and can't add 2 + 2. That's not what I mean at all. What I mean is a lot of times when you have to be so focused at a job like hauling pneumatic, you might not make as much room in your head for other things like family matters, just generally kind of cleaning out the cobwebs and making sure that you're not having negative self-talk, that type of thing, okay? And isolation can do that to people, okay? Stockholm Syndrome is a thing, right? And that, all jokes aside here, I think what I'm really getting at is there's a very specific subset of the trucking industry, and I don't even know if I'd call it a subset. It might be the largest subset of the trucking industry, but that is our over-the-road drivers, people that are out on the road, living out of the truck for any given period of time. It could be a few days, it could be a few weeks, it could be a few months. It doesn't really matter. Everything else kind of stays the same when you're talking about mental health and over-the-road trucking. And today, what we wanted to do is bring in a couple of drivers that can talk to you about the things that they do to keep their head right out on the road. And what's interesting about this conversation, and I've already had the conversation, so I'm talking to you from the future right now. It's so cool that I get to do that. But something that I think is really important to understand here, while, yes, that is the point of the conversation, I want to know what you guys do to kind of keep things right out there. What you're going to hear from our drivers is that even sometimes some of the things that they don't realize they're intentionally doing to help their mental health is very much intentional. It comes from almost a place of necessity. And I know that doesn't mean anything to you before you hear the conversation, but trust me, if you remember that part, that one word, intentional. I think that's a really, really important word here when we talk about keeping our mental health out on the road. So this conversation ran a little bit long. I'm going to be honest with you. We talked for almost an hour, and that's because, as I've told you guys before on this podcast, I'm never going to shut down a good conversation. And this one, while I think that there were some nerves starting out, those went away almost immediately, and what we got was some amazing conversation from our two drivers here talking about how they stay right out there on the road and just the little methods that they use to compete with the isolation, the long hours, being away from home, all of that. So without further ado, let's bring our drivers in here because, again, I say this almost every week. It's like we keep recording the best episode of this podcast every week. That's a really good problem to have. This one, I think there's a lot in it for a lot of drivers to be able to take something from. So let's get them in here and let's talk a little bit about keeping our head right out there on the road. Welcome back into Always Pneumatic, Never Static. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited to bring my next two drivers in. Of course, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we are celebrating it here on the Always Pneumatic, Never Static podcast today. OTR driving is a serious animal. I've talked to a lot of drivers in my career making podcasts for truck drivers for almost 4 years now, and I can tell you that OTR drivers are a special breed. It's somebody that can put up with the isolation of being out for weeks at a time, or maybe even months. I've even talked to people that live in their truck and never really go, quote-unquote, home. Now, that's not the case that we've got today, as actually one of our drivers is joining us from home time right now, and he's very kind to do so. Please welcome to the show OTR driver for Bulk, Jackie Thomas. Jackie, we greatly appreciate you being here today, man, especially on your time off.
Yes, that's no problem. I'm glad to be here.
Now, Jackie, I like to get to know my drivers just a little bit beforehand, so tell me how long you've been driving for Bulk.
A little over 5 years now.
Little over 5 years. And how long have you been driving total, sir?
Total ever since 1988.
Wow. So you were around for the Wild West.
Yes, I was.
How much different is driving today than it was in 1988, Jackie?
It's terrible. It is. you could drive out there in 1988, and I have no better problems. Anybody cutting you off going down the interstate or whatever, now you get cut off all the time. You get flipped off all the time and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of difference.
A lot more congestion out there these days, isn't there?
Yes, it is. Yes.
And what about the advancements in the truck? Do you find the truck to be easier to drive now with all the technology advancements?
Yes, it's very, very comfortable, very relaxing, and compared to the old trucks back in the 80s and 90s, they're a lot more comfortable driving, and you don't get beat up as bad. Yes, very comfortable, and it's automatic, which that's fine too.
Yeah. You're one of the few out there that came from a manual and went to an automatic and was actually okay with it. You know that, right?
Yes, I do. Now, I never drove a manual until 5 years ago.
Oh, really? Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, glad to have you here, Jackie. We're going to get into a lot more from your driving experience here, but before we get too far into it, I want to welcome our second guest on. She's nice enough to join us from the Piketon terminal where she's dispatched out of. This is OTR driver for Bulk, Stephanie Evans. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, how long have you been driving for Bulk, Stephanie?
I've been driving since October of last year, so about 6 or 7 months, maybe.
Okay, and how long total for you? Is this your first driving gig, or have you been driving for a while?
No, I was over the road for about 4 years, so August will be 5 years driving truck.
Very cool. And when you're out over the road, it's a question I should have asked Jackie too, but about how long do you stay out when you go out over the road?
With bulk, it's never more than just overnight or 2 days or something of that nature. But prior to this, I would stay out 30 to 60 days at a time.
Oh, wow. Okay. So long time for your prior experience. And you were out for big stretches.
Yeah, that's just as we traveled coast to coast and then Canada border to Mexico border.
Okay. Now, I can ask you this question kind of imagining what your answer is going to be because of where you're at, but did you like staying out for 30 to 60 days at a time, or are you more one of those people that would like to get back every couple of days?
So it has its pros and cons. So where I've been, I'm kind of from Appalachian region, and I'd never really been anywhere, coming from generational poverty. So to be able to go and see all of these amazing things across the country that I could never afford for these vacations, and where I'm doing resets available to go to Las Vegas or LA or New York, and just all over the country and seeing everything. But I do like to come home.
Yeah.
That was the pull for bulk transit is in coming here is the opportunity to have a quality of life with human connection and not just be by myself.
Absolutely. The isolation is the one thing I always wonder about with those big, long coast-to-coast runs and staying out for so long. Stephanie, I'm curious how you dealt with that, because on one hand, you've got all this excitement of seeing all these places that you want to see, but on the other hand, you're doing it by yourself. How did you compete with that out there? Were you taking lots of pictures, always in touch with family, letting them know what you were seeing? What was your MO out there?
So, yeah, pictures just come with it. Mostly it was learning from some of the drivers that have been out here for a long time, or the company that I was with, finding other drivers within that company, like as you park at night or something like that, to talk or whatever it may be. But majority of the time, I just put myself first. And when I'm putting myself or my truck first, I rarely have time for anything else.
Sure. It's a very detail-oriented job, and you have to focus, right?
Yeah.
I get that. Jackie, I did miss that question for you about how long, when you go out, are you staying out over the road? Is it kind of similar to what Stephanie does, just a couple days at a time?
No, I usually stay out anywhere from 6 to 12 days.
Okay, so it's a longer stretch, but it's not the 60-day stretch like Stephanie was talking about with her old company.
No, I couldn't handle that. I couldn't. No, that I understand what she's saying too, because I've talked to some people that stayed out there like that, and I just don't think I could stay away from home that long.
Sure.
It'd drive me bonkers.
Sure, I understand. What's the longest you've ever stayed out?
I've stayed out about 14, 15 days before. That's about it.
Okay, couple weeks. That's still a long time from home. I mean, I can't look back and think about the last time I was away from home for 2 weeks. And I tell you, you take me away from my wife and my dogs for 2 weeks, I'm going to be a puddle by the time I get home, Jackie.
Well, I got a girlfriend at home and a dog at home, so I don't mind a break every now and then.
Yeah, I totally hear you. So, how are you guys staying in touch when you're out there for those, those 14-day stretches or 2-week stretches? Do you talk religiously kind of every day? Do you have a scheduled time that you get in touch with your girlfriend, or is it just kind of as time allows?
Me and her is usually in the mornings. She's on her way to work, and I'm just getting up, getting ready to get going, get my coffee in me. And in the evening when she gets off, which I'm usually driving, I'm on a headset too. But most of the time, I got a couple trucking buddies. One of them's with Bulk, and one of them's over the road. We talk all the time.
See, and that's something I notice is very common. I had a couple drivers on here and multiple other podcasts that I do where they'll come on and they'll get a couple of their buddies that they talk to all day, every day, and they'll tell me before we turn the mics on, this is just a normal day for us. We're just adding you to the conversation. So I think that's really cool, Jackie. That helps you stay level out there, doesn't it? Having somebody to talk to.
Yes, and you don't lose your mind out there on somebody. You just say, go ahead, cut me off, go on. I'm talking to my friend here. I'm having a really good day here. So, especially coming around Chicago, it's the worst place I've ever been.
Man,
coming around 2 hours.
It definitely ranks up at the top of the ones that I've heard. Out there with Atlanta, Los Angeles, and New York are the 4 that I kind of hear all the time that people would rather not go to, but they end up going to because there's a lot of industry in those cities.
Atlanta, I don't have been a problem with Atlanta. I've been down there so much for Bulk. It was unreal. Run down to Dundee for James up there. And I've been to Canada a few times too here with Bulk. I don't have a bit of trouble with that. I don't have a bit of trouble going to Florida. I'd rather run south if I could, but right now, I'm on a dedicated run to Missouri and to Green Bay, Wisconsin, then back to Ohio, to Plain City.
Okay. So you're getting your Chicago dose whether you want it or not.
Yes, I am 4 times a week.
Oh, man, Jackie. Well, you're resilient, man. Truck drivers have to be. That's interesting, Stephanie. I want to go to you right now. On that note, and I didn't ask you, and you guys are going to find this with me. I'm going to forget to ask you questions that I asked the other person, but I promise I'll bring it back around, okay? What's your family life like at home, Stephanie? Do you have a significant other? Do you have any children waiting at home for you?
So I do have kids, and I do not have a significant other. I found that when I started just focusing on myself and my truck, I really didn't have time for any of that. And my main goal was to elevate myself as a person and as a woman to be able to be a reflection of someone else before I wanted to commit to someone. So I'm not at that point where I feel I could be a reflection of my partner to even start that kind of thing. But no, my kids are good. My kid's dad is a trucker as well, but he gets to come home every night. So he has our little girl, and then my other children are grown or teenagers, and I don't know. I try to fit in their life, and I'm like, Mom, get out of here.
Kind of that time in their growth, then. Yeah, a teenager, especially later teenager, they're starting to live their own adult life out there, aren't they?
They would rather be with their friends than me. Yeah.
I totally understand. So how often do you get to catch up with them?
So I try not to interfere, if that makes any kind of sense, because it makes it hurt worse.
I totally understand that.
Yeah. I mean, them as well as me. So, like, my little girl, my 7, 8 year old, if she's just like going to school and playing at home and stuff like that, she don't even realize what's going on. When I come home and I grab her, we haven't skipped a beat.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm calling her and telling her, I'll be home in 5 days. So every day she wakes up, she's like, I got 4 days, I got 3 days, and it makes it harder on her, we found.
Sure.
So I try to just focus on doing what I need to do for financial gain. At the end of the day, I love my truck. My truck is my first priority, because my life depends on, the operation of my vehicle. So I do put that first, and it's kind of selfish, but I'm doing it for a future, and I'm so grateful to Bulk. So Bulk, giving me the opportunity to actually be with them, to be home for Christmas or birthdays or births, funerals, just regular everyday things like a dentist appointment. So, yeah, it's definitely very different than where I was coming from.
Sure. I can tell. Now, one thing that I want to bring up here, because it's just occurred to me while you were talking there, Stephanie, is that, we're here talking about mental health. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. We're talking about how over-the-road drivers kind of keep their head level. And what you just heard from Stephanie there was so poignant to me. You've made the decision that might be harder on you to not talk to your daughter every single day and count down the days, because you understand what an 8-year-old goes through, or 7-year-old, however old she is, that those days for kids that age last forever. If anybody can think back to being 7 or 8 years old, when somebody told you on a Monday that the weekend was going to hold some type of exciting event, that week felt like a year. And it does to every kid that age. And just understanding that, Stephanie, I feel like is a really good indicator that you've taken some steps to make sure that not only your mental health is in good shape when it comes to getting in touch with family, but you're also not a detriment to your daughter, which I think is another layer that is really important. And I know it's not easy to not talk to her. I know that. I've talked to enough moms and dads on this show, but you're doing that for the greater good, Stephanie. And much like, I don't think that sounds selfish at all. I think it shows a level of maturity and awareness that a lot of people that are struggling probably wish that they could find.
Yeah. I believe that finding it through the dedication to my truck and myself. I have so many things going on in order to make my life better for the future. I think that there's no time for no one else. By the time I'm done, if I take a shower, I'm ready for bed. I'm like, I've had enough of the world today. I'm done. So between truck and sleep, I really don't have time to be lonely. If that makes sense.
I hear you. It totally makes sense. Jackie, I wonder what's going through your head as you hear Stephanie talk about her situation here. Any similarities for you? You seem like you're talking to your buddies out there. You've got some time to talk to the girlfriend. You don't have any kids, at least that you've mentioned yet. So what's going through your mind as you hear Stephanie talk through her situation?
Been there and done that. I have, because I have a son that's fixing to turn 42 years old, and I got 4 grandkids, which I do got one grandson that's 15. He calls me at least once a week out here and asks me how I'm doing and where I'm at.
And tell me how that affects your week when you see his number come over your cell phone.
Oh, when it comes up as Bub, and when it comes up, it just lights my day up.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure.
It's very delightful. And Stephanie was talking about Bulk there too, how Bulk treats us. Bulk is an excellent company to work for. They're family oriented, and they will work with you no matter what it is, the time you need off for family or anything. Because I had to have some time off last year for my girlfriend to have she had cancer, and it all went well. They just jumped right in there and called me and asked me how she was doing, all that. So she is definitely correct about how family they are.
Yeah, we've seen that come through on this podcast ever since we started it on every single episode. I feel like we never fail to mention that aspect, and it's such an important aspect, Jackie. And I want to ask you, first and foremost, if your girlfriend was able to make a full recovery.
Yes, she was.
That's awesome.
She's doing great now. It's been over a year, just a hair over. Yeah, she's doing really good.
Well, I got an applause button for that. That deserves a round of applause. Cancer, that big C word's never an easy one to hear. So whenever somebody makes a recovery, we want to cheer them on for sure.
Oh yeah, yes. I mean, because I've had it too. I've had it 15 years ago. I had prostate cancer, and I made it through it. I'm right here, right now, still driving a truck, and I hope I can make it 3 more years in the truck, and I'll be done.
Oh, well, you sound very vibrant and full of life to me, Jackie, so I think you got it in you for sure, man. But I also want to give you a round of applause for beating cancer, man. Everybody,
Thank you, sir.
every story we ever tell about beating cancer on this show is going to get a round of applause from Always Pneumatic, Never Static. Congratulations on both of those recoveries, and I'm glad to hear that when you needed the time, Bulk was able to get it for you, because I think we all know, you guys have talked to enough truck drivers in your experience, we all know of a story where a company wasn't able to get that person back, and those ones never seem to have quite as happy of an ending. And I can't imagine what it would do to your mental state, Jackie, out there on the road if you knew that stuff was going on and you couldn't get back to her.
Yes, it would really bother me. Actually, when she was diagnosed with it, I was in Saginaw, Texas, hauling for up there for those guys, hauling flour. I was up there for a week, and she called me, and she was giving up on life. I said, "No, you're not." So I told him, I can't remember the terminal manager's name anyway. But anyway, I told him, I said, "I got to go. Can't give up on life just because you got the C word. You got to work it out, work hard for it."
That's a great mindset to have, Jackie, and you can tell that you faced it before and you aren't scared of it.
I'm not, believe it or not. I mean, at the time I was married for 34 years, and she passed away, health issues, and when they was all sitting out there in the room crying and everything, because I was going in for 4-hour surgery, I said, everything will be all right. And if I don't wake up, it'll be fine too.
Wow. I'll tell you, Jackie, that mindset is something to be. It's deserving of a tip of the cap for sure, my friend. I wish I could be as relentlessly positive as you are. That's something about your personality. Never let that go. All right. I've had so much fun talking to you. You and I've spent quite a bit of time on the phone outside of recording, just getting this whole thing set up. And I haven't heard a crossword out of your mouth, man. You are a happy individual, and I commend that.
I'm like this every day. I mean, my better half, she even says, "Why do you wake up so happy?" I said, "Well, life is short, and just make it fun."
Amen to that. I got to try waking up happy a few times a week. That sounds like a really nice thing, Jackie.
A good cup of coffee.
There you go. There you go. I can get behind that. Here's something that I kind of want to talk about, moving past kind of the family aspect of it. That's a very important one. There's a reason that I wanted to talk about that first, because the isolation that OTR drivers can feel is very real. And here we've got a couple examples of people that will tell you there's ways that they go about keeping that isolation from creeping in. You heard Stephanie talk about dedicating herself to her truck and making sure that she focuses on her truck and the job at hand. And of course, Jackie talking about hearing from his grandson out there on the road, talking to his buddies, keeping a good attitude. Those are intentional things that you guys do that aren't easy to do, but you do them, and that's all part of keeping steady mental health out there on the road with the job that you do. Now, something else about keeping steady mental health out there is that windshield time. And I wonder, Stephanie, I'm going to go to you here first. What do you do to pass the hours? Are you listening to podcasts, audiobooks, music? Are you just listening to the breeze blow through the air? What do you do to pass windshield time? Or are you having telephone conversations with people? There's a litany of things, but what we know is it's a long day. And sometimes you're driving for a long time just staring out the windshield, Stephanie. So how do you enjoy passing the time when you're just putting miles behind you?
So I would say it's a variety of all of the above: audiobook, music. I'm a people watcher. That's weird, kind of creepy, but it's fun. You know, like you look out the window and you like see something going on, and you'll be like, "Oh, I wonder what they're doing," or you see something funny like a flatbedder have a toy truck strapped to the back of it, or it's weird stuff. I don't know. I'm a people watcher, so I guess that's helpful. I'm a
Absolutely.
dreamer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fun because sometimes my wife and I will see something that doesn't make sense when we're on a road trip, and we will spend the next 10 or 15 minutes making up a backstory for whatever we just saw. And I'll tell you, it can be some of the most entertaining stuff that you ever get into, you know?
Yeah. Oh, another thing that really passes the time, like if I'm happen to sit somewhere in a parking lot, it actually helps me be a better driver watching other drivers maneuver
Oh, yeah.
their truck. I love doing that. I
And
know it's so weird.
I don't think so. I'll tell you right now. I think that just makes you a student of truck driver nature, is all it does. And my guess is you're picking up as many things not to do as you pick up things that are good ideas that you want to do in watching these guys, right?
Yes, yes. So, yeah, and some of it's pretty good. So some of it's pretty funny.
Do
I
you
don't know.
can you think of any examples off the top of your head, or when you saw a driver doing something and you just thought, "What on earth is going on in your mind? Where did you learn to drive?"
Oh yeah, plenty of times, but most of them are inappropriate. But yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen some stuff. So I'm gonna try to keep it clean for you.
Hey, I appreciate it, but you can dance close to the line, okay? We've got a little bit of leeway on this podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some slow people, but yeah, no, I like sitting in the truck watching people, in the parking lot maneuver their trucks or like work on their trucks. It gives you a good opportunity, like if you were thinking about something that you're unsure about or maybe needed other suggestions on, talking to them when they're on that downtime doing that stuff is great as well.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. There's some camaraderie out there between drivers, isn't there?
yeah, if there isn't, I'm the type of person. My personality is I'm curious and I want to learn. So even if they're not, they're disgruntled, they're not wanting to be talked to. I'm still like, hey, hi, how are you doing? Yes, get away from me, lady. You know?
Maybe you use the technique that my mom always taught me, which is kill them with kindness. Just be so nice that they can't ignore you, right?
Yeah, and it's my wanting to learn. It won't stop me. You know what I mean? I'm still coming. No
Absolutely.
matter.
So,
But no, I don't talk on the phone very much, and it all turns back to in my previous life before trucking. Had a lot to do with this. I don't communicate with anyone really. Maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks or something like that, because I don't want the longing to be there on either side.
mhm.
You know what I mean? If I'm just doing whatever I'm doing to get my money and get out of here, I'm not really paying attention to time. If I'm thinking of what everyone else is doing or what I'm missing, I'm thinking of that time. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes really good sense. And again, it's something intentional that probably when you first realized that, if it was that a habit that you had to break, Stephanie, when you finally realized that, hey, we're both longing when we're talking multiple times every day. I've got to separate myself from that a little bit to make it easier on everybody. Was that a hard transition to make when you finally figured that out?
So the previous lifestyle I lived before I became a truck driver, was helpful in that because it went hand in hand. So yeah,
Okay,
I just
understood.
I I just do what I got to do to get out of here. And so trucking, I love trucking more than anything in the world. Like it's so weird, but I never in a million years would have thought I would be driving trucks. I never got a driver's license until I was 36 years old.
Wow,
You
really?
know? Yeah, so I never even drove. But the money that came from it is life changing, and that was the pool. So it just is a bonus that I do love it. You know.
For sure, for sure. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this question because whenever I'm talking about it, I do ask, are there any audiobooks, podcasts, or anything like that you might recommend that you're listening to right now to pass some time that other drivers out there that are listening might enjoy?
Never static, always pneumatic.
Oh, hey, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I'm giving you a round of applause for that. All right, I got the button queued up. We might as well. But you've actually been listening to the show.
Kind of, no. Sometimes.
Kind of sometimes. That's okay. I will take that. I promise you. But I love it because listen, keeping, I think, variety in your life is a very important thing. I only give you 1 hour of content a week, Stephanie. So even if you were the biggest fan of this podcast and you were wearing the t-shirt every day, I wouldn't keep you busy. That's for sure. You would be needing to find something else. So I totally understand that. And we appreciate any clicks that we get, whether you're listening to one episode or all of them here on Always Pneumatic, Never Static. Jackie, I'm going to turn that same kind of question to you. Are you spending most of your windshield time on the phone with those guys that you talked about, or are you listening to podcasts, audiobooks? What do you got going on out there to put the miles behind you and pass the time?
I do listen to the bulk podcast. I do listen to it, not every time, but I do listen to it, and I listen to a lot of country music too. I like the oldie stuff. I do, and I can do that all the way up to about 1 o'clock during the day. Then my buddies start calling.
So you guys kind of have a set time where you're looking for that phone to ring.
Yeah. After lunch, it's going to ring, I promise.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. And another thing, too, I thought was funny, I was kind of holding my giggles back when Stephanie said about stuff being on flatbeds and stuff. Yes, there's one flatbed that goes around Chicago all the time, and he's got a Tonka dump truck strapped to the back of it.
I've seen videos of that on the internet before, and it always makes me laugh. That's a good sense of humor that guy's got.
Yes. Yeah, and she was talking about what other drivers do. Yeah, I kind of, laugh about a lot of stuff because I know I have done it. Something stupid trying to back in or something like it in the dock or whatever, or tight spot. And that is funny because I know I've done it, and I can laugh at them, say, well, don't do it that way, do it this way, So
yeah, I would bet since 1988 you've seen about all of it that there is to see out there, Jackie.
I've done some crazy stuff myself. We all have. I don't care who you are. We're not perfect.
No.
So, but I mean, it's great to be out there. Like, I've been to 40 states. I don't know how many Stephanie's been to, but I've been to a lot of them with bulk, and I'm just thankful to get paid to go and visit these places that I've always liked to go and see.
Sure. I totally understand that part of it. I got to ask something real quick. You said you enjoy the country music, but you said the oldies, and I'm wondering how oldies here. Are we talking Conway Twitty? Are we George Strait, Randy Travis, Garth Brooks? What's your where's your fancy lie?
I love it all. Alan Jackson, George Strait too. I'm back in George Jones days. I am, because that's what I had to listen to growing up. My dad and mom,
Yes, sir.
That's all they listened to in the 60s, the old stuff like that. So, and it kind of rubbed off, I guess. It did. So I enjoy it, though. Then sometimes I'll flip it over on a rock station just to break up the monopoly. I'm getting tired of listening to something. So,
yeah,
I enjoy it.
Get a little speed and noise in your life on the rock station, and then get back to feeling the feelings on the country station, right?
Yes. Stephanie had a good point there. A lot of windshield time too there, because I've had a lot of windshield time out there too. Because me, when I take off on my 11-hour drive clock, I just stop. Like if I'm coming from Green Bay, Wisconsin to Plain City, Ohio, okay, it's a good drive. It's let's see. I forget how far. I can't remember. But anyway, I'll drive up to 10.5 hours one way if I have to, just to get somewhere, break it up for one-time stop with fuel.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but me, I like windshield time. You see a lot of stuff out there, like Stephanie Stephanie said there's a lot of stuff we don't want to say over here, but I've seen that too, stuff like that. And
Yes, sir.
it's really crazy. Then you see them weaving and stuff, even trucks. And you say, my first thought when I see a tractor trailer weaving in the road, it's on the phone.
Yep.
That's my first thought.
First thought, probably with anything on rubber tires out there on the highway, if it's weaving, that's probably what they're doing. Is if their eyes are open and they're not falling asleep, they're on the phone, right?
Yeah, 99% of the time, and that's the way it is. So.
Man, it's a big problem, and I just want to draw attention to the fact that we were actually going to record this yesterday, but we decided that we were not going to record it yesterday because Stephanie was going to be driving, and she was very kind today. She's sitting in the truck waiting for us to get done with this so she could take off driving. Yeah. I got a huge amount of respect for that. The safety of this job is paramount, and I can tell that you bulk drivers take it very seriously, and if you haven't heard it out of Stephanie and Jackie on this call yet, just keep listening because they keep talking about how important that part of it is in kind of nuanced ways is the best way that I could put it. So, and Stephanie, I want to make that clear. We're very appreciative of you making time for us because this has been an awesome conversation so far. So thank you very much for making this possible.
So can I say something like totally left? I would love to shadow Jackie or to meet him in person. I don't never remember meeting him, but his experience with bulk is something that is a goal for me because I would love to be able to stay with bulk for the duration of my driving career. But knowing the things that he does about the trucks, the trailers, the runs, I would love to shadow him. If anyone out there is listening with the authority to let me shadow Jackie, that would be great.
Well, Jackie, how's that make you feel?
That makes me feel really good because, she's taking an older guy and trying to get some feel for what, maybe what to do, maybe on something. On the job, what our job is, pulling a tractor or something, I mean.
Well, you're saying that you have a dedicated run, which obviously you're doing something right to get a dedicated run and not have different sporadic ones, as well as saying you was down in Texas working and all of that poor bulk transit. And so they don't give you those opportunities if you don't know a bunch of different stuff. I'm a baby here at bulk. So.
Yeah. Well, what it was with me was I started out in Foster, Kentucky, running out of that terminal. So I run out of that terminal for about 2.5 years, something like that. Then I said, we're getting a little slow on work, and I'm not making the money I want to make. So Sean started this, he didn't really start the OTR yet. I started transferring, helping other terminals out and stuff, Dundee out, Sydney out. And I'm biking. I've helped Kelly out down there, pulling clay and stuff. And then one day up there, Scott, which he's retired now, he said, Jackie, I just want to keep you on, like for you down this Missouri and Green Bay run 2 rounds a week, 2 loads a week from each state. And would you like that? Then they transfer me to Plain City, and I'm happy.
Would you say, Jackie, that just kind of that willingness to jump around to some of the other terminals is what kind of opened up that opportunity for you?
Yes, it did. It sure did. Because, I don't know, Jason at Sydney, he's treated me good. I've run to Texas for him, too. And see, Evansville up there, I've run for Charlie up there, too, to Texas. And for James at Dundee, they've all treated me good. They know I like the long run. Let's put it that way. If it ain't long, don't call me. How's that sound?
Well, Stephanie, that's really cool. I'm glad that you did say that. That's not off the wall at all because that's one thing that this podcast aims to do. If I can get 2 drivers on here that have never connected before and have you guys connect outside of the podcast for the positivity of your own careers or the advancement of the company, that is the A1 goal that I have here is to kind of grow this. You guys have such a great culture already. We're not installing your culture at all with this podcast. We're just trying to add to it. And what you just did right there, it adds to that culture because you got Jackie who's saying, yeah, that's awesome. And you are hungry to learn, Stephanie. So anytime you do something like that on this podcast, you're going to get a lot of flowers from me. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, my.
So on a random side note too, while you guys were talking, I'm in Foster, Kentucky, sitting just watching a vlog. There's a turkey. I sent you some pictures of it. It's running across the wild just randomly, only in Foster, Kentucky.
Only in
It's over
Foster.
here. Yeah, the wild turkeys. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's
I'm
funny.
looking at the pictures right now. That thing just walking around like it owns the lot.
Yeah,
It does.
I was chasing a chicken one time down Tennessee. I was outside Nashville. Oh, it was the worst day of my life. I just woke up out of bed, walking into the truck stop, and the chicken full on attacked me. My son laughed till he cried, and then so I missed it before thinking, hey, the chicken's gone. The lady at the cow center's dying. It's waiting at the front door on me to come out.
Oh, you got a rival chicken.
It kicked my ass first thing in the morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Holy cow.
I got my ass kicked right by a chicken.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
you never,
funny. That's
you never
funny.
know what's going to happen out there over the road. You just don't know. You can be attacked by poultry. We've documented it here on the podcast. So, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, videos and film of it. I got pictures. But anyway. Yeah, so Jackie, another question. I'm sorry to be in your podcast doing this, but did you have to move, like sell your homes or move apartments or whatever living situation to get to those terminals?
To get the place to where I'm driving from these terminals? No, I didn't move. No, I didn't have to move. They let me drive the truck home. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so I know when you get hired, you have to be within so much range of that terminal.
Yes.
And that's for truck recovery purposes, you know what I mean?
This is the great thing. This is the great thing about bulk. My house, from where I live, and I live in Cynthiana, Kentucky, 30 miles north of Lexington, Kentucky. I know you know where Lexington is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? All right. From my house to Plain City is 2 hours and 54 minutes with no hiccup. And they let me drive my truck home and stuff. But there's an exception to this. 99% of the time when I leave Plain City up there, I got a load of ash, or not ash. It's bad material that comes out of Honda at Murraysville, Ohio. I take it to a fuel place in Missouri. So see, all I do, I can go down Bluegrass Parkway to go to Missouri. I can go to Louisville and go around that way. It's real simple. So that's why they let me bring the truck home with a load every week, because they know I've already got a 3-hour jump on anybody that's coming out of Ohio.
Yeah, and then on top of it, you're staying gone all week. So you're only going, when you leave home, you won't be home again for, 5, 6, 7 days.
Yeah, I mean, like if I leave, I'm gonna leave Sunday morning at 6 o'clock. I'll bobtail up there, hook up the load up there, because I've been off for 5 weeks, and I'll bobtail up there, hook up the load. I'll go to Louisville. That's the best way to go. Down 64, go to Mizzou, load my load off, go get my tanker washed out Monday morning at the truck wash. Then I go to Green Bay and load, and I head back to Plain City. Be back up there Tuesday morning.
Like clockwork.
Switching out. I can do it 5.5 days or less.
Wow.
And also, his load sounds fantastic in theory until the snow comes.
Until the snow
It
comes,
ain't
yep.
It ain't nothing.
Until the ice and snow comes, and did not Missouri load don't sound so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got me, man.
I'm sorry to interrupt you on this one, Stephanie, but that's what everybody said for Plain City too. When I took them loads, they said, you ain't going to like it when the snow and ice come.
No, it's and listen, when you've been driving for as long as you have, you've seen that snow and ice before. You said you've been to 40 states, so obviously some of those states are going to be wintry states in the winter months. We only got that swath down south that gets the sun 24/7. So Excuse me, Stephanie, it kind of sounds like, do you have very much experience driving in the snow and ice, either from your prior gig or where you're at now?
Yeah, so I've been to the majority of the lower 48. I don't do the Northwest at all, normally, but yeah, Maine, Connecticut, all that good stuff, Colorado.
I am a little hurt that you don't come out to see me here at the Northwest, because I would buy you a cup of coffee if you had a break to take in Eugene, Oregon, right?
Oh my God!
I'm not going over there.
Yeah, I know. It's a long trip. I promise you. I did it on a plane, and it was a long trip. I went out to Plain City, and it's very nice out here. But I totally understand why you guys wouldn't want to come out here, especially in the winter months. A lot of elevation change out here in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, you got to get through the Rocky Mountains to even get over here. So it's a pretty hairy trip,
Yeah.
Where's your favorite place to drive to, Stephanie?
Favorite place on 10.
On 10? Just anywhere on 10?
Yeah, so 10 is good money just because now you make sure you have any rations like through the desert, like the Mojave Desert and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure you have everything you should ever need. An extra tire, clothing, food, whatever, because you can get on 10 and it's going to take you, before you even see a gas station or human life, it's going to be like 6-7 hours one way.
Wow.
But the money's real good there, and the parking's real good.
Oh, yeah, right. There's nobody out there.
So I didn't realize, being from the United States of America, I'm just assuming we are all the same, right? We're all living the same lifestyles and the same. No. If you go from one part of America to the other, you might as well be in another country.
Yep. It's true.
The way they are, how they handle themselves, even their livestock, or their wildlife, the vegetation, the way that people act, everything is different.
It is. Yep. No question. Yep. Jackie, I hear you giggling about that. You have some thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I might want to keep to myself on this one. What do you think? But it's all good. I love it out here. I mean, I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. And I grew up, in the business. My dad had 4 trucks. I knew at 13 I was going to drive. So let's put it that way. And I was driving in because at 14 years old, I drove from Syracuse, New York, to Cincinnati, Ohio one night.
Wow.
So I was with my uncle, and he had to get some sleep.
Yep.
So I got a little windshield time. So see, I'm fortunate. I grew up in the business, and I knew that's what I was going to do.
For sure. Stephanie, I think there's something that I want to touch on that you said there, talking about how every state can be kind of a different country. I think a lot of times that Europeans that I've met don't understand that when you're talking about, bebopping through Europe and you're taking the bullet train all around and you're seeing Italy and Germany and France, and you do that all in the space of a couple of days, they don't always understand that their countries are many times as big or smaller than our states. Like, you start putting Alaska and Texas up against the size of some European countries, and it gets downright scary. This is a huge country, and there are all manner of different lifestyles and cultures all the way across the country. And it sounds to me like that's one of your favorite parts about trucking, Stephanie.
It is. It's great. So, I know another one that's my favorite is Connecticut. In the holiday season around Christmas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You go up there, it's like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. I've seen the pictures. They do Christmas different out there in Connecticut.
Yes, it's a Hallmark movie. It's great. But I remember going through the Mojave Desert, and I had never seen these animals before.
Uh-huh.
And I came from a long line of like hunters and fishers and whatever. So I'm thinking, I know what America's doing. I seen a pronghorn. I don't know if you know what a pronghorn is or not.
I was fortunate enough to go hunt pronghorn and actually fill my tag. I waited 20 years for that tag, and 3 years ago this September, I was able to take down a pronghorn. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So me being from Appalachia, country, I've been isolated. We never had money to go nowhere, but so I'm driving my first couple times to Los Angeles, but I'm going through the desert. See a pronghorn, I call my grandma. I'm thinking something escaped from the zoo, or it's been imported from Africa or something. Because it looks like the one that runs with the lions over there. And my grandma was like, "Don't get out of the truck, Stephanie. You just stay right there. Don't get out of that truck." And both of us were at a loss. Mind you, she's almost 80, 90 years old. She's old as crap. So between the two of us, we didn't know what that thing was.
That's so funny. That's funny. I love it.
Now that I found out what it was and that it was supposed to be here, I felt so stupid.
No, hey, those things look a lot different than anything you've ever seen, and you are 100% right. When you see them run away from you across an alfalfa field or across an open desert, they look like they should be running from lions and tigers, not just from whatever's out in New Mexico, right?
Yeah, and then roadrunners. I'm sorry to be on animals, but roadrunners, I thought they were big, like the cartoons. No, they're little bitty tiny things, and they're super fast.
Oh, yeah, they are. Those things are really cool. That is one thing about Oregon, where I live, that a lot of people don't know, is the Great Basin Range stretches into the southern part of Oregon, and we have a pretty big what I would call almost alpine desert down in the lower part of our state. And we do get some antelope, and I am right there with you. They do not seem like they belong in our state, but they're here, and I'll tell you, they are delicious. If any of you are a hunter, man, they make a good steak. In fact, my wife just cooked up some antelope for me last night and put it with some gnocchi pasta. It's so good. It might be my favorite game meat, if I'm going to be honest with you. So if you ever get a chance to get a tag and you like to go out and hunt, I would highly recommend an antelope hunt. They're really fun. They're hard. They are incredibly in tune to their predators. They're very fast, and you don't get closer to them than about 300 yards unless you're lucky. So it's a very fun and challenging game. Or if you just enjoy sightseeing, they run in huge herds, and they're really fun to watch.
Yeah, you have to be a good shot on that one.
Well, my adage with that one, Stephanie, is even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. I think I was throwing lead in the air and that thing jumped into it, if you want my honest opinion. But it still hit the ground, and I got it on my wall because, as I said, I applied for that tag for 20 plus years before I finally got enough preference points to get the tag. So very, very special moment for me. I'm glad you brought up antelope. It never hurts my feelings to talk about them. But Jackie, I wonder, I never asked you the question that got Stephanie there to talking about the different animals in the different states. Do you have a favorite place in all of your experience driving since 1988? Where's your favorite place to end up in the truck?
Oh, man. I really like going south. I really do. Okay. I mean, I love going down in Florida. I just love the view going down, and it's so relaxing going down 75, down in there. And I'll tell you, I'm like Stephanie. In the fall, I've been to Connecticut and stuff for bulk, delivering malt and stuff up there for the breweries. And I really like it up there in the fall, too.
Yeah.
It is. Because, I don't know, it's just the way the trees and everything is up in there, I don't mind it. But when you get out of where I don't know where Stephanie lives at, but I live here in a town that's not 100-mile-an-hour pace. Mm-hmm. And when I get out of here in these other states, these vehicles, they're just a motoring. They are. But no, I do. I like going south. I do like going up Connecticut, that area there.
Yeah, the colors up there in Connecticut in the fall have got to just be mind-blowing. And I'll say this, it can never hurt anybody's feelings to get out after you've left Kentucky or Ohio, to get out of the truck down in Florida and warm the cold bones up a little bit, right?
You're exactly right. I mean, it gets cold down there too sometimes, certain part of the year. But I mean, it's still nice to go. It is. I always like that run down there.
For sure. Well,
the Everglades is something to do in the Everglades, and they're cheap adventures that you can do in just a couple hours when you shut down, like going on those airboats and stuff. You just take a little trip down the Everglades. Yeah, pretty nice.
That's cool.
They got parking for your truck right there too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, I got family down in Orlando, so I mean it's good for me if I get to go down there. You know, a few times I went down there for bulk. I visit with my cousin, took her out for dinner and stuff, barbecue place. So I mean, it's really good for me to see my family. You know, that's in these other states too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of the things that I feel like a lot of people don't understand when they see over the road truck driving as a career. They think being out, being isolated, long miles, really hard work. But there are some caveats that come with it. Stephanie's talked about it. There, you just heard Jackie talk about it. Sometimes you get to go out and see family. I mean, who knows how often you're just going to take a plane flight down to Orlando to see your cousin and take her to dinner. But hey, if bulk gets you down there, you're down there. It's that easy. It's just part of the gig, and you get to go out and enjoy some barbecue with a family member. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's all part of how you guys stay level out there on the road and set yourselves up for success to be able to do this job that is a very demanding job. And listen, it's not an easy one, but you guys are really good at it, and you can tell that there's a lot of dedication that's made you good at it. We have gone for almost an hour, believe it or not, Jackie and Stephanie. I'll always say, whenever I look up at the clock and that much time has passed, but it feels like 15 minutes, that was a good conversation. So I want to wrap it up, though, because I know Stephanie is giving us her time right now, and far be it from me to take a single minute more of Jackie's time off than what I need to. So let's go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Jackie, if you see me again, make a point, because everyone is a blur most of the time. Say, hey, I was doing on the podcast with you.
I'm good to give you my number two off the podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll as soon as
you get on the podcast, and we'll call you for advice. So
we will make sure that you guys can exchange numbers after we shut the mics off here. I'll make sure and keep you on the line so we can do that, because that is a big moment in my life too. I'm very excited to hear all of the things. You know, Stephanie, I think about this maybe in 6 months. We'll get you guys back on here together and talk about what you've learned from Jackie over those 6 months since you connected here on the show. But this podcast, there's one thing that we do for every single person that joins, and we call it Final Thoughts. This is a time for you to say anything that you didn't say, bring up anything that might have gotten left on the table during the recording here, or give some shout outs to family members, coworkers, whoever might be listening. The point is, the floor is yours, and you can take as much time as you need. So, Jackie Thomas, we're going to go to you first for your final thoughts here, my friend. Trucking since 1988, seen just about everything there is to see, a wealth of knowledge. We greatly appreciate your time here today, Jackie. Final thoughts for us before we let you get back to enjoying the last bit of your time off.
I've really enjoyed this podcast with you and Stephanie. And it's been really, really excited, you know, to hear Stephanie talk about she's been places I haven't been. And I encourage anybody, you know, if they want to work for bulk, I mean, it's a good place to work.
Amen to that, Jackie. Great stuff from you. Thank you so much for being here today, my friend. We will get you back on here again soon for sure. Stephanie Evans, your time is also greatly appreciated, especially because I know that you waited to get on the road today. I'll never ask somebody to do that, but if they are going to do it for me, I'll tell you I'm very grateful. Thank you so much for all the great content today. Final thoughts from you before we let you go.
So mine's probably in both directions. I want to give a shout out to Kelly in Piketon Terminal. What an amazing person and employee for bulk transit. She's super loyal and super helpful, and I could have not done this without Kelly. So very grateful to her. But patience, and knowing the dangers of the job. Like when we leave home, we might not go back. So, you know, and I've watched a lot of it, you know, just on the road. So it is great. It's good money. It is an amazing company, but just always be aware of the danger that comes with it. And it could be in a moment. It could be a split second, you not paying attention and trying to hurry, or thinking I'm going to make one more dollar if I stay out one more hour, or if I do this really fast. And that's not the ticket here. The goal is to, to help the company advance as well as myself. And being in a rush or not paying attention is one of the number one things that, hurt drivers.
Absolutely.
And always to be prepared, I would say. Like being prepared for anything that would happen. Have all of your provisions with you, anything extra, bring that stuff with you.
Great advice there, Stephanie. Thank you so much for the time. Hang on the line with me, guys. After we shut the mics off, we'll get your information exchange so that you two can touch base off the air. This has been a fantastic conversation. Big thanks to Stephanie Evans and Jackie Thomas. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for being here, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Can confirm that Jackie and Stephanie exchanged information off the air, and they will be connecting so that Stephanie can soak up like a sponge all of that great knowledge that Jackie has amassed over his career trucking since 1988, growing up with a father that had 4 trucks and getting his first, I'll put it in quotes, long-haul experience miles-wise at the ripe old age of 14. That's an amazing story, and what you heard there was a newer driver, and I won't even really consider Stephanie a newer driver. She's been with us for a while, but somebody that doesn't have as much experience as what Jackie does, is looking to try to absorb that experience because she's so dedicated to the job. And you could hear that in Stephanie's voice, talking about how one of the things that she uses intentionally to keep the isolation and the loneliness from creeping in is focusing on her truck and making sure that that truck is in ship shape and everything is running perfectly. That alone gives her the confidence to approach the job the way that she wants to. And it also helps her not think constantly about that little girl sitting back at home waiting for her to come home. And again, I told you off the top, think of the word intentional. This is not something that just happens. It's something that you have to make happen. Trust me. I mean, you heard our Mother's Day episode just a couple of weeks ago. It is not easy for a mother to not be talking to their child, especially not when it's available. So what Stephanie does is very intentional, and it produces results, and it keeps her level out there on the road so that she can do a really good job, get her check, and get home, and then concentrate on the things that matter once the truck is parked. As for Jackie, seen it all out there, man. There's not a thing that a guy that's been driving since '88 hasn't seen. And I think a lot of that kind of comes with the territory of being intentional about staying right out there from a mental standpoint. And you heard it from Jackie. I mean, have you ever heard a happier guy on this podcast or in general? There's not anything that you could tell Jackie that's going to upset him. And that's intentional too. You heard him talk about waking up in a good mood every day, get a good cup of coffee in you. Even his girlfriend doesn't understand how he does it, but he does it. And he's been through some things, lost a partner to illness, got through cancer himself, went through a cancer diagnosis with his current significant other and got through that. That's a guy that doesn't have to be happy every day, but he is because he wants to be. And that is where I wrap it back to being intentional about your mental health. At the end of the day, this job asks a lot more than driving a truck. It asks for discipline, it asks for patience, and whether we talk about it or not, it demands a very high level of mental fortitude. Because here's the reality. Long-haul drivers might spend weeks at a time working in isolation, and studies have shown that truck drivers are at a higher risk for depression and loneliness compared to the general workforce. And in some research, nearly 1 in 4 drivers report symptoms tied to mental health strain, whether that's stress, fatigue, or just the weight of being out there alone. And that is not a weakness. That's the environment we live in. That's the job. So what matters is what you do about it. Intentional. And what you heard today, that's the blueprint. Stay connected. Find your routines. Take care of the little things. Break up the monotony. And don't ignore the days when something feels a little off. Because out here, you can't control the miles, but you can control how you take care of yourself along the way. And sometimes that's the difference between just getting through it and actually being good to go out there. And I hope that this episode did a good job of painting the picture of how just 2 drivers handle it. And I also hope that the rest of you drivers that are listening to this might want to come on and share the way that you keep your head right out there over the road. Or maybe you're a regional driver. You don't stay out that long. Maybe you're home every night, but you still concentrate on your mental health. We're here to talk about it, and more than happy to welcome you onto the show. I told Stephanie and Jackie they are definitely both welcome back anytime. If you're listening to this right now and you're going, how in the heck do I get in touch with Marcus? That was an awesome episode. I want to be on the show. I hope you're saying that. God, I hope you're saying that. But it's simple. You just head over to the website, podcast.bulktransit.com. There's a link there where you can email me directly, or if you already have my phone number, feel free. Shoot me a call, send me a text. I'm available all the time that way. I will answer if I can. If I can't answer, I'll get back to you, okay? But this is important stuff that we talked about today. This is kind of a gravitational episode because we learned about some techniques and some tips and just being intentional about doing things in a way that works for you that I think will really resonate with a lot of you bulk drivers out there, and Spur as well. We're not going to forget them. Thank you so much for clicking download on today's episode. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think we gave it its flowers today. So really appreciate Stephanie and Jackie coming on here and sharing so much time with me, and thank all of you for being here listening today. We appreciate always every single click that we get. Podcast.bulktransit.com is the website, and we will have another hour of content for you next week, Wednesday, 5 a.m. local time. Take care out there, bulk. Be safe. Make sure to keep that shiny side up.
And that's all she blows for today's episode of Always Pneumatic, Never Static, your #1 and probably only pneumatic trucking podcast, brought to you by Bulk Transit. Thanks for rolling with us today. Till next time, stay safe, keep those lines clear, and keep it pumping.